I have found who I think is the most talented Junkrat player in Gold. I was very impressed with the tricks of the Junkrat trade that Hello There was using. Junk's not often praised for his mechanics, but there's a lot of cool tricks you can do with him that are really oppressive. And let's face it, obnoxious. It's a bit surprising for many because we wouldn't have expected Junkrat to be one of the better characters for DPS, considering there's Tracer and hit scans in the game. But remember, Tracer got nerfed, and the maps have been made to be more flanky. Oh wait, that's right. I told everybody that Junkrat was actually good. Even in the alpha playtests, we saw Junkrat kind of popping off. I think it just took players a while to actually accept the reality of his potential and get over the biases and assumptions they were making about what they thought a character like this can do. Because as it turns out, being a character that can just zone a spot when there's only one tank on the field to stop all your spam, there's a lot of openings for you to get kills. And with some of the power creep benefits that Junk got over the years in Overwatch 1, he fits into the mobility playstyle of Overwatch 2. At the launch of Overwatch 1, Junkrat's explosions caused self-damage, so he couldn't jump around freely, and his mines couldn't be air bursted. In fact, they had to arm on the ground first, so he had a much more campy playstyle. You kids don't know how good you got it. Okay, so in today's video, we're going to take a look at this Gold player's Junkrat gameplay and find ways that he can upgrade his game sense, and I think making these adjustments to his game could get him as much as 2 ranks higher for sure. Now, I'm going to rattle off the mistakes as I saw them and then go into depth on each one on how to fix them. Keep in mind, middle rank players, a lot of these go for many of you as well as on many characters. So even if you don't play Junk, I think you can get a lot out of this video. Number 1, bad ultimate setups. Misunderstanding the context of the battlefield as well as how the enemy can outplay our ult or outplay us for using it. Wide angle peaks. Oh, this one's a heartbreaker. You don't get to higher ranks disrespecting angles and hit scans like this, because it only gets harder the higher you go. You've got to path through the map and use cover better than this. Overemphasizing the objective at the wrong time while foregoing cover positions. This one helps so many heroes. You're going to love that one. Okay, first up, take a look at point A, both on attack and defense. It's important to know which DPS are durable enough or evasive enough to play the objective, but Junkrat isn't one of them. Most DPS aren't durable enough to ever touch the objective at any point. And in fact, because we're playing payload, not control, there's a long, big map to set up your positioning at every stage and never touch the cart. I say that because it's so clear that our Junkrat hero didn't know what to do once the enemy advanced onto the point with a sound barrier attached. Being on the high ground is super obnoxious, and you can spam without even seeing what you're shooting at and probably hit something while avoiding the enemy's attacks. Once we hear the nano visor get popped up the main street, we have to know that's going to be a terrible duel for us. While yes, if we're able to snipe him, we can save our team, but more than likely peeking that is going to be death. And it's perfectly fine to find vulnerable kills somewhere in the team fight in order to establish a retake later, because that's how this objective works. Their respawn is a bit farther than yours, so even if they get a team wipe on Numbani A, your respawns will be able to come back and likely clear off whatever remaining members are still capping. Giving up 2 ticks is always better than dying to contest 1 and not getting any kills. Knowing that principle, you can avoid their big resources and attack them where there aren't any. And what a higher ranked player does in this situation when they get their 2 support ults on the point is actually drop the point entirely. We stay in fighting and yes, get 1 kill. We position ourselves in a one and done position in the middle of the entire enemy team when they have overhealth. Shooting a nade at sound barrier is like a waste of time. You're better off actually flanking, avoiding. Let whatever teammates that are dumb enough to keep fighting into the support ults die. Just try to get some kills out of it so your retake will be better. Ideally, you would have fought them before they got on the point, but we'll cover that more when we get to the ultimate stage, as we kind of wasted our tire. A similar thing happens on our point A attack. When we finally get into position in a hallway, we are very over eager to cap the point when it's not our job to do that. Your job as Junkrat is to get in obnoxious positions and find eliminations. You're not an objective character, other than maybe like defending on the cart and spamming out when you already have control, but taking control just makes you a free kill. Now, we're lucky that we are able to overwhelm them here and our mistake doesn't end up mattering, but I assure you, in the event that your entire team dies to something else and you are the one who needs to secure position in order to keep killing the enemy and maybe even an entire separate respawn wave, if they would have done the same things that I told you to do on defense, holding up top would have been better than trying to jump down and get a tick. It'll be a recurring theme in our guide videos in the coming weeks that squishy characters always play cover. Always. Literally always. If you're not on cover, you're doing something wrong. And if you haven't died because you're not on cover, it's just because your opponents aren't good enough to know how to shoot you out of cover yet. But trust me, if you keep ranking up, they will. So use cover. Get in cover and keep killing the enemy until they're all dead, or you have an open lane to get to the next source of cover. That rule will weave us into the next section, but what I would have rather you did is at the moment that on point C, we are in a hidey hole, a hallway with hit scans out in the distance, and we see them, that rather than think we are going to duel them, we run back into cover, trying to walk and cross against two sniper characters, thinking we're going to take their spawn door. No. The cart was moving around the corner and they're likely going to come contest it. So we don't need the backline kills necessarily. Junk can nuke tanks and he can ride the objective and use it as cover. The cart counts as cover, folks. The push robot's even better. And as far as guarding the objective, he's actually better than hit scans are. They don't want to be that close. Like Cassidy has a magnade so he can play a little closer, but those snipers out in the distance, they're not going to touch the cart without easily dying because your medium range damage nukes, but their long range damage nukes you. So hide from it, spam from around cover, and ride the cart until you have a clear lane to create a flank, either with a triple mine jump or getting around in a hallway. But a flank isn't when they both look at you. Okay, you see them, you walk away. You don't walk in. Because you're getting one tapped in gold. I mean, it's only going to happen worse as you rank up, believe me. Okay, next section, we're going to talk about just the concept of wide angle peaks in general. What do I mean by a wide angle peak? Well, it's one like this. We're out in the open, and it is incredibly easy for the Widowmaker to look up and see us and shoot us. We know we knocked her to point. We have no cover to dodge this. And well, you might ask, well, where's the cover we could have used here, Frito? Yeah, that's why Junk's not good on attack here. What do you want me to say? We already saw how they got this checkpoint. He eventually got in the hallway. But turning a quarter and peeking a sniper is always going to be death. Even a Hanzo will struggle with a shallow angle peek, which is to say tight to the cover, jiggle peeking quickly outside of the cover to appear fast and then hide back in after shooting. But the wider angle you go, as in the more you commit down the lane in the open street away from cover, well, it's super easy for a sniper character to slowly line you up and snipe you out of the sky. For the same reasons that hit scans counter Pharah, at least when she positions badly, they counter Junk too when he does the dive bombing playstyle, which is why you need to do what he eventually did and dive bomb towards the positions you want, which by the way can be to get to the backline, but it also can be to get a pressure angle on the tank. Get to a point of safety outside of range of where the snipers can see you and just keep whittling down the tank until you create a new opening. The way we've been playing is in a pure one and done kamikaze playstyle, which when you watch clips from our channel that have been edited, it looks like my Junkrat gameplay, that's all I do. But what you're seeing only in news roundups and stuff is when I've found the opening to do it. I'm not doing it nonstop. There's a lot of boring tactical taking map control slowly that goes on. I'm going to pick on another submission because this is an even better map to talk about wide angles because Junkertown is the best sniper map in the game. Being out in the open without cover, and especially using movement vertically, is a feed. Whether you're Lucio, Pharah, Batiste, often players will use his boots too much and just keep jumping into the sky. This is not an acceptable way to play. You're just asking to get shot by everything. And what I see Junk players struggle with sometimes is they get themselves into a position and the only thing they know how to do is panic jump away. And I'm sure at certain ranks, that's going to be good enough to just throw off their aim and they won't hit you as you fly through the sky. But from what I can tell, at gold, they start being able to hit that shot. So instead, get yourself into a cover position that you know you can hold longer so you don't need to panic yourself out. A really good example of this was this almost 5K clutch to save the objective on the checkpoint. The enemy get a couple picks and we are actually working cover perfectly, peeking out, using our ability, hiding safely with Tire, kill 4 of them. What I don't understand is why we felt we had to go for the Reddit clip and dive bomb the Moira, a character who is sustainable and ends up rotating back into the position we should have been holding anyway. These hidey holes, tunnels, little caves is where Junkrat makes his money. At this kind of range, he has the most intense burst damage in the game, other than maybe like a lucky Hanzo headshot or something. Really easy to hit 1-2 combos. There was no reason to leave this position because, trust me, I've seen it happen that you dying here might have been the checkpoint for some series of unfortunate events. Don't play sloppy. Lure her into the trap by holding this corner, because remember, you can always back up to the health pack that's behind you. That health pack is an extra life for you. More healing than a healing ability. A healer will give you like 60 health a second. A full pack might give you up to 199 instantly. And especially because the cart, the objective, is right in front of it, there's no reason for you to go fight them. They have to fight into you. Another example of this is going to be on point C, where we are spamming into the doorway. I like that part of it, but this is what's called an open angle. We're just out in the middle of a street. A good test for cover usage is asking the question, if there was a Deadeye or a Diva Bomb that got cast right in front of you, immediately throwing you off, would you be able to get in cover within the second or whatever it takes to dodge it? The answer is no. So the truth is, as your team is playing up close, it's better to play up close with them, because you'd be firing up into the same spot you were anyway, but have the opportunity to dodge around and get to a health pack or use cover. Maybe even a bit of both. Like if you can get a couple reloads off from a position, take a little heat, then get a health pack, you're extending your life so much longer than these wide open angles will do. Because instead we just do our typical concubine away and then slowly get whittled down, and we have no presence in our position at all. As soon as the enemy looks at us, we're dead. That's how you know it's a bad position, because you have no response. This is actually so dirty, guys, because once junk players learn how to position a bit, they'll be even more obnoxious, because then you won't be able to flush them out of those positions because they just dominate at those kinds of ranges. Oh God, what am I doing creating this video? Okay, one last section of this on attack. Same thing, riding the cart. I believe this hasn't been changed, although it is different on each payload map, so don't quote me on that. One player on the payload moves it at 100% speed, and then each player after that increases it by a few percentage points. I don't know, maybe it's 4, 7, whatever, who cares? The point is, it's barely any faster with 2 more on cart. You guys riding it together as a team, getting max speed on the cart, got it to basically where it would have been with 1. And that will always be the case on this map, and especially as a character that isn't going to get any value from this distance. Maybe on other maps, riding the cart will be fine for you. On a sniper map like this, you have to find your positions. And in fact, waiting so long to take position and take forward advanced position, now the enemy freely comes back and takes all the position they want. So because of that, you're now fighting from a disadvantage for the rest of the time. And even though we get a pick on the Junkrat, he gets rezzed, they're established everywhere, all we can fight is the enemy tank, who is incredibly durable. We go down and then have to take the entire map again. What we instead want to do is, this is called a transition, because you want a team fight, the cart is progressing, so it's time to transition to set up for the next fight. Almost no one is ready for the next fight. In fact, your whole team is holding the exact space you would have got for free. Remember on Numbani, our hero put in work once we got into a hallway. So once they're all in spawn and they can't contest your advance, that's the time to go find a cheeky position to take. I'd much rather you take a obnoxious flank or position around the health pack mega, either in their streets phase or near the A checkpoint. Anything other than sniping from cart, basically. Because remember, Junk's nasty at shooting in a doorway. Even when the enemy's coming into a doorway, and there's 4 of them, a window and lower doorway on each side. So use sound to know where they're coming from and punish them for making that transition back onto the map. Those are the easy kills to get. But instead of going to position to go get them, we play passively and then have to fight all the hard kills in like a neutral fight, as if we were sent to spawn. No, they were sent to spawn. Once you have an advantage, take more map, not less. Okay, the same thing is happening in the final fight that we end up losing. We get some kills, start advancing the cart, but because we want to have the max cart speed in order to lose the game anyway, like with the cart speed, what did that do for us? Moving it a few percentage points faster. Well, it just meant that we were fish in a barrel for the soldier flank up top. See, he's playing in order to play the positions on the map. We are playing in order to just ride the cart. And where on some maps that might be okay, the more enclosed it is. If there is high ground and windows like there is everywhere on Junkertown, you have to play to fight to vacate those positions. As we win the fight, what we should do is go up top and try to duel this guy. While it won't be so easy, because this is a sniper map after all, Junk's not really good on this map, but that's a much more viable attempt than letting them have every crossfire angle imaginable. Last section of the video, take a look at some of the rip tires used in our submissions. Try to bait enemies into your rip tire more. What I mean is, we were up top, and we already explained how we could have repositioned in this fight better, but we knew they weren't coming yet, because we just looked out and saw them out in the distance. What we do here is jump the tire up off the ledge, giving it more verticality. If they have a hit scan, that means the tire's dead from any angle already now. But because the distance is so far that we have to clear, they're going to be able to destroy it easily. Now, what you want to do here instead is travel the tire on the top, hopefully waiting for them to advance more first so it doesn't have to go as far, but explode it as soon as they can see it, which means you need to peek it over on them immediately. You can't run it at them at a straight line. That's never going to be good. Now we get another tire pretty quickly because this character's a bit OP, and we look to almost do exactly that, but don't explode it on the soldier. I'm kind of confused. Do we just want multi-kills? Do we think solo ults are bad or something in metal ranks? Solo ults are great. This guy's one of your biggest counters on the enemy team. So once the DPS are dead, nobody's killing you. So take whatever kills you can get with the tire immediately as opposed to 0 kills, because if you're in this deep on the enemy, you have to really punish them in order to be efficient at all. Like tossing ults out like candy, like you guys are, and only getting a kill and a half. A few seconds pass, they respawn, you peek and die. That's not good enough. Now the cart's moving again. So ideally we want our ults to get more cart time, and in fact, maybe even hold them longer. The best ult interaction you can get is when the enemy start using engage ults, and then you use an ult to get eliminations during that fight, because that's their high power fight. The best example of this is saving Tire for Nanoblade and positioning defensively, and as he goes to attack your backline, blow him up. The Tire here on point C, a bit of a bait this position. This feels like a good corner to hold, but really the next corner is better, precisely because unless you were already holding that top window, they get that for free. And try to remember too, when a tank character has armor health, that's going to reduce your tire damage by a huge percentage. So that might have gave you some tempo on the fight, but if you played the position that I said, you could use the tunnel to go at the backline instead. There's a mini health pack there too, which is another one of those Junkrat hidey hole spots that you can abuse, avoiding the Widow's line of sight and probably getting picks on the squishy support characters, either with your mines or with the tire. Remember, the hit scan characters are going to shoot your tire the best. Some of the supports can a bit, but a lot of them just don't have the amount of damage fast enough, maybe on a nade, but some of them have escapes, of course, but they're going to be your best target for using tire or some of the other flex DPS options. On the B checkpoint, this is actually exactly what I want you to do. So this no kill tire is what I want. And I'll tell you why that's good. We took an advanced position on a transition spawn. While we're capturing streets phase, the enemy needs to come take space into us. And even though we break the rule of, I want you to send the tire at them in such a way that as soon as they see it, you're going to be able to explode it. Okay, we broke that, but we expected them to start to come contest the cart. And just the presence of our tire made the enemy team back off, not contest at all. Maybe they weren't going to anyway, but regardless, securing the objective, really big deal. The checkpoint anyway. You get your advanced spawns, a really high quality no kill tire, but you can get more value out of them if you get a bit more scouting information before you press Q. It's not likely that you're going to send it on a long mission and it's going to do much for you, because players will just hide in holes and stuff and you won't have any idea where they are. And then maybe the only character that presents to you has an escape anyway. Guys, that's everything for today's Gold Junkrat Get Good guide. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. I apologize for making Junkrat an even more popular pick. A wise man once said, some men just want to see the world burn. He's not the hero we deserve. He's the... Wait, how's it go? I forget. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. If you want to submit your gameplay in for content, you can take the link in the description to submit a replay code of a loss where you thought you played well. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.